Hello everybody, welcome to your live watch-along of Hearts versus Rangers in the Scottish Cup final. Hopefully Hearts can win some silverware this season. For the third season in a row, Hearts are in the Scottish Cup final. Come on boys! Come on boys! It's not gonna be easy, but we're gonna go for it.
Wednesday taken out of this Rangers team mentally and physically. Can the Jam Tarts take advantage on Cup?
Come on, Hearts.
Hearts being led out as well as Robbie Nielsen, their manager, by Steve Morris, who is suffering from motor neuron disease. He's working to raise awareness of the cruelest of diseases. And there'll be a special moment for a big Hearts fan.
Come on, boys! Give you the lineups for today. Starting with the Rangers lineup, you've got McLaughlin, you've got Tavernier, Goldson, Balogun, Bassi, David, Lundstrom, Artfield, Aribo, Kent, and Amin Diallo. And then you've got the bench there. That is your Rangers team to play at Hearts today. Your Hearts team is Gordon, Kingsley, Suter, Havin, Boyce, Atkinson, Devlin, Cochrane, Mackay, Halkett and Sims. On the bench is Stewart, Smith, McNiff, Woodburn, Mackay-Stevens, Moore, Halliday, Civic and Gennelli. That is your Hearts team to play Rangers today. Come on boys. Sorry if I cough a lot today, I just got a bit of an aggravated throat.
Giovanni Van Bronckhorst changes half the team just about. Former Jambo McLaughlin replaces McGregor in goal. Could the veteran who played his last game for the club? Barisic came off injured and hasn't made it. Well, Jack Kamara and Wright are among the subs. In come Balogun, semi-final scorer Arfield. And Diallo also comes into the side. And Stephen Davis, who started that 2009 final.
Come on, Hearts.
John Suter's last game for Hearts comes against his next employers. It's his first start since the 5th of March. Craig Halkett's back as well. First start for him since the semi-final. The victory over Hibernian. The two changes from that game are Suter and Cammy Devlin replacing the benched Civic and former Ranger Halliday. Along with the latter, Barry Mackay played in the Rangers team that lost the final to Hibs in 2016. Willie Collum presiding over his 4th Scottish Cup final. You don't get much more experienced than he. One last big, long, deep breath of air for Van Bronckhorst. For everyone involved in this high-stakes shootout on Glasgow's south side. Joe Aribo got that goal. There are the Rangers fans dreaming during the week. To no avail. It's the big set to go then. The 137th Scottish Cup final at Hampden Park. Rangers against Heart of Midlothian. And Ryan Kent
Game gets underway. Rangers versus Hearts in the Scottish Cup final, folks.
Missed out on the league title on the final day, having going into that game at Dens Park on the back of a 30-game unbeaten run. A week later, they played Aberdeen here in the Scottish Cup final. They were well beaten. Will it be Hearts' turn to take advantage? 36 years on, or can Rangers do what they did in extra time in that semi-final win over Celtic?
Come on, Hearts.
A lengthy European night a few days before. James McFadden with me. James Tavernier has the game's first opportunity here for Rangers in the opening seconds as well. And it's the skipper he takes, blocked
by
Alex Cochrane. And Boyce finds Mackay. James, what an afternoon in prospect here.
That's a huge afternoon for both clubs. You know, you can hear the Rangers fans in full voice, likewise the Hearts fans to our right-hand side. And The fans are definitely up for it. The big question marks have been, how will Rangers react to the extreme disappointment of Wednesday night? I have to say, watching the warm-up, they look as if they're sharp and they look as if they're ready. I'm sure they will be. And for Hearts, secured third place a number of weeks ago. They've had a lot of time to think about this final, a lot of time to prepare for it. They've got some players back from injury, and I'm sure it's going to be an exciting afternoon of football. I surely hope it is anyway.
Yeah, they've had their eye on this for a while now. They've lost their last few matches. They're on the pitch for the first time here. It's Boyce. I'm delighted he's fit. Came off
Come on, Hearts.
against Rangers in the league game last weekend. Experience of Stephen Davis there. Last time Rangers won a major trophy, Stephen Davis was on the score sheet when they beat Celtic in the League Cup final 11 and a bit years ago now. It's Mackay winning it back off Tavernier. It's a few free kicks given away in the opening couple of minutes.
And that's what Hearts have to do. Barry Mackay, brilliant pressure on James Tavernier. He takes maybe a heavy touch, and Mackay's right on him, wins it back, and Tavernier makes the foul. And that's what Hearts have to do. They have to start fast and test Rangers out as much as they can, as early as they can, and save Rangers.
So guys, put your question in the chat, like, sub and subscribe if you are new.
Extremely difficult night for them on Wednesday night.
Mackay's free kick. It's Peter Harding over there.
Come on, to keep pressing.
He's kept it in play despite the protests of the Rangers fans in the North Stand, and then gives away the latest free kick and a yellow card as well.
Yellow card.
The big Austin.
Just overruns it, Haring. Yeah. I mean, that's a heavy challenge. Heavy challenge from Haring. No wonder he's not complaining about the yellow card. Concern for Calvin Bassey as well.
Makes it potentially a long afternoon for Peter Haring. He's a combative player. And is Calvin Bassey okay? He's been magnificent for Rangers. He was their best player in Seville on Wednesday evening.
He goes to poke it away with his toe and he's falling through, catches Bassey in the ankle. It does look like a sore one, but I think yellow card's about right.
Relief for the manager. Calvin Bassey back out at left back
Come
today
on,
because of the injury to Borna Barisic that sees Leon Balogun come into the team. They played on the left-hand side of the Nigeria defence during the World Cup qualifiers, did those two in March. Davis won that against the odds there, but the flag's up. Talking about Hearts in 1986, and having a Dundee United a year later, European disappointment. St Mirren won the Scottish Cup. Rangers were in Manchester against Zenit during the fixture congestion at the end of that season. They led Queen of the South in the final 2-0. Queens pulled it back to 2 each, and Rangers were on the ropes for a period of that game. Went on to win it though. It's good play by Boyce. Fabulous play by Boyce.
Go on, shoot.
This is Sims.
Oh,
Bassey blocks.
come on, Hearts.
Good play for Boyce. Ellis Sims desperate to get his shot away. He's blocked. Enough Rangers bodies in there to block it.
Atkinson losing out over on the Hearts right. Suter as well. The current school of thought is that John Suter will be the direct replacement for Connor Goldson. Giovanni van Bronckhorst has resigned to the fact Goldson, who just headed that away there, is on his way out the door. Boyce again, it's a lovely touch, he's in the mood. Mackay just has it stolen off him by Balogun.
Come on, Hearts.
Hearts pressing, you can see that. Just checking to see what the Rangers' energy levels are like early in the piece here. Suter too long for Sims, right through to McLaughlin. We knew we'd start this final. He started all the Scottish Cup games for Rangers this season, including that semi-final win here over Celtic. The difference between this game and the semi-final against Celtic, which also came after extra time, is the fact that was off the back of a euphoric victory over Braga. This is off the back of a soul-sapping defeat.
Yeah, and I think that was always going to be the issue. You know, the players have to find that motivation.
Play between Kent and Bassey. And
corner to Rangers.
Rangers win.
You know, when you win a game in those circumstances, you're high. You're looking forward to the next game, and I'm not saying Rangers aren't, because this is a cup final. It's a huge game, a chance to finish off what's been an excellent season for them by winning a trophy. But it comes down to the players having to find it within themselves to get that energy and approach this game the right way, and I'm sure they will.
So the corner to Rangers, folks.
Right in front of the Hearts supporters, this.
Corner. Oh, good clearance. Guys, put your question in the chat, like, subscribe if you are new.
Stop for Kent. The slightest of touches from Atkinson.
If you guys like it, don't forget to like, subscribe if you are new to the channel.
Top goal scorer with 7.
Incredible, Liam. Incredible. Fullback. He's been an excellent player for Rangers, but to win the top goal scorer in a tournament of that size as a fullback is remarkable.
Come on, Hearts. Not really been any big chances of late, folks.
It was a terrific run by Rangers. Year improvement in Europe, of course. Hearts will be trying to do that next season. They're having to defend against James Tavernier here. Played by Suter. This is Devlin.
Come on, Hearts.
Well, when Gabby Devlin was on the ball, I was about to say he's another who likes getting stuck in, and you saw that in the aftermath of the challenge.
Yeah, he's a fiery character. Devlin has been a terrific signing for Hearts. He loves to get involved in any kind of fighting, you know, trying to wind up his opponent. But, you know, leading up to that chance, James Tavernier's starting position was high and wide on that right-hand side. Steve Davis had
Get another ball in for you guys.
It's the only ball he can really pick.
Atkinson, through for Boyce. Sims is there.
Oh, how have you missed?
The post keeps him out.
How have you not scored?
Chance of the cup final goes to Hearts.
Oh, what a chance that is, Liam. It's the Boyce again at the heart of it. It's a long ball up. Sims flicks it on. And Liam Boyce, I thought
Sims had got that and hit the post.
Into the path there, Sims is at full stretch. If he goes with his left foot, I think that's a goal. He goes with his right foot, agonisingly off the post for Hearts, but another
Come
good
on.
bit of play.
He'll hope to not be replaying that when he goes to his bed tonight.
It's good striker play because he's alert, you know, he's anticipating that it might come across, and he has it full stretch. He just can't get enough on it to divert it into the net. There will be more chances for him.
Tavernier. Right by John Suter. element of risk in starting all three of Suter, Halkett and Devlin because they haven't seen much action recently. There's Kent. Arfield, Davis. Back with Kent. Darcy. Mark Stanford. Wins it back. Willie Collins happy with the challenge. Real edge about this, just 12 minutes in. Brilliant from Calvin Bassey. That's one behind for the goal kick. It was a run like that helped Rangers win the semi against Celtic.
Come on, boys.
It's a great run for Bassey, isn't it? Showing that power, showing that energy, and he just overruns it. Get a chance to look at the Ellis Sims chance again. It's good play, and I think Liam Boyce is trying to hit that first time. If he got it the way he wanted it, potentially been blocked anyway. Sims arriving at the back post, just can't divert it in. A huge chance for Hearts.
Encouraging from a Hearts point of view, though. Scored just a couple of minutes into his Rangers debut in January in Dingwall. Hasn't really caught fire.
Finished the season well.
Yeah.
Showed glimpses of the reputation that he has, and it's a huge call to put him in this afternoon as well.
Come on, Hearts.
And they found him. Diallo. And it's
Well
away
blocked.
by Suter.
It's excellent from Diallo. Great ball, crossfield pass, Connor Goldson. Great time in the run, great touch, gets his head up. Great switch of play. Brilliant first touch. And he's just trying to roll into an area. Ryan Kent just can't get there.
There's Kent. Testing Atkinson. Shrugging him off as well. There's Lundstrom. Arfield back for Davis. Stuffed it, makes the work. It's Arfield. A magnificent block. Rangers enjoying a good spell here. Davis. Arfield
Come on.
stayed onside. Rangers knocking on the door. And it's coolly dealt with by Dieter Haring. Guy loses it. Hearts can't get out at the moment. Tavernier. Arrivo. And Boyce is there. Hearts up against the ropes. Now they can come away on the counter. And watch it, let's see who's got here. Up against Balogun. He stands his ground brilliantly.
Good defending from Balogun because it looked like Ellis Sims was going to get away, but he showed that pace to get back in.
Come on, Hearts. Do
Snuff
something,
out the attack,
please.
but Rangers have really upped the tempo in this
Come
game.
on, lads.
Boyce is on.
Go on.
Six was in, Boyce was.
That's shocking.
Comes to nothing though.
He's been bright, Liam. Boyce, he started well. He's been anything good for Hearts so far, and he'll have to be huge player for them.
Yeah, he hasn't scored as many recently, just 2 goals in his last 18 games, but his work rate is phenomenal.
It's good foil for Sims. Sims has been a great signing for Hearts, and it's freed up Liam Boyce to go and find those areas, little holes dropped off, and then going beyond as well. So it's, although the goals, we know Liam Boyce for scoring goals, I think his all-round play has been very good, and that partnership, along with Barry Mackay, has worked really well for Hearts.
In fairness, still a very productive season for Liam Boyce. He scored 16. Here's Cochrane. And it is Boyce. He's waiting for more options to arrive rather than waste the ball.
Go on.
And it was run well there by Atkinson, an Australia international. Another Australian there, Devlin, back to Suter. Halkett. Kingsley. It's been an intriguing opening 18 minutes here. Those 2 Scottish Cup finals in the 90s. Rangers winning the one in 96. Brian Wilder was magnificent. Gordon Jury scored a hat-trick. In fact, that was the last hat-trick scored in a Scottish Cup final. Hearts getting their revenge at Celtic Park 2 years later. Colin Campbell, Stefan Nadal. Rangers fans haven't been much luck here at Hampden since they last won a trophy in 2011. Played 12, won just 3 of them. Losing 9.
Come on.
Wins came against Celtic on penalties in 2016. The semis of this competition, they beat Hearts 3-0 in the 1920 League Cup semis. And then there was last month's extra time victory, which took them here. Of hunting grounds in recent years for Rangers. It was Kent. Rangers clearly a threat in the wide areas. There they are. Kent has switched over to the right just now. Trying to get it back. Tanner. Across it comes, and Craig Gordon. To be brave because John Sugar's boots were pretty close to his face there, the Hearts keeper.
Brian Kent had anything good for Rangers. He started really bright. I thought Tavernier was just going to lift it. A loose Scott Arfield coming out the back post to go and attack it. He flashes it across. That's a dangerous one for the goalkeeper, and Craig Gordon spots it as well as John Sugar, and they deal with it then.
It was Cochrane's win. He's on the
Come
way
on.
from Brighton.
20 minutes played, 0-0, folks.
A few players out there potentially playing their last games for their respective teams. Hearts are an easy sell for players next season, to be fair. Guaranteed at the very least Europa League conference football. Conference League, drop into the Europa League playoff round. Guy clips it in, it's Haring, taken away from Sims by Goldson, swept clear by Diallo.
It's incredible where Hearts are now, Liam, since Robin Nielsen's gone in. He had that tough spell in the Championship, he lost the cup game, and it was extremely difficult, but you look at where they are now, they're a club all together, they've gone in a huge trajectory, they're miles ahead of schedule, and where
Come
they
on,
want
Hearts.
to be, and where they set the plan to
Guys, like the stream with the like button, don't forget to like, subscribe if you are new.
To Robin Nielsen, the job he's done.
Rangers to the cup final in about 14 months. It's their third Scottish Cup final in the last 4 seasons. Most the other two to Celtic. They were 2 successful penalty conversions away from winning in 2020. Boyce gives chase. Simpson gives it. It's back to Jordan Walker.
Excellent defending from Calvin Bassett. Just wouldn't sit for the Boyce, doesn't get the touch he would like. Bassett coming out of that back post.
Oh, wow.
Great defending.
Bassett up the other end. Yeah, I mean, 2 of the most used saves this season have been brilliant save by Gordon and great defending by Bassett. They've both been magnificent for their respective clubs.
Yeah, Craig Gordon's just expected. He makes top class saves every single week, and that's been his whole career. Calvin Bassett, what a remarkable rise he's had this season. Really impressive. Just improves week on week. So much more improvement in him. Terrific season he's having, and he'll want to finish this one on a high as well.
That's his ball. Aribo.
Get out.
Succeeded him. He's back to goal. Took his chance brilliantly in Seville on Wednesday. He was really cool on a night that was very hot.
Yeah, it was. And it was a bit of fortune in the opportunity for him, but he made no mistake. And I think that was always a worry for Rangers. You know, obviously the disappointment of losing the game, but playing 120 minutes in that heat, and then ultimately get nothing at the end of it. But I have to say, the reaction's been excellent. Ryan Kent had a huge opportunity to win the game. I wondered how that would affect him. It certainly has not this afternoon. He's looked excellent.
Oh, my hearts.
Relatively similar to Ellis Sim's opportunity early in this game, actually, the way it came to him. Obviously, the goalkeeper Kevin Trapp made the save on Wednesday. Sims hit the post today, and that's as close as this game has come to producing a goal. To the second quarter of it now. Here's Lundstrom. Scouser's been a terrific player for Rangers in the second half of the season in particular.
Come on. Come on, Hearts.
Connor Goldson is playing his 61st game of the season today. And there is a legend on the left of your picture there, John Gregg, who remains the last man to captain Rangers to a European trophy. Alistair Johnston, former Rangers chairman, with him. In Spain, watching that Europa League final.
Who wasn't in Spain, Liam?
Were you there?
No, I wasn't.
You were there. The heat was so intense up in the commentary position. Just imagine playing in it.
I think many people connected to Rangers now.
Just wondered if you were working for someone.
No, sat in the comfort of my sofa at home.
Lovely. Diallo, Davis, Arfield, and he doesn't really catch it.
I'll see you guys in a bit. I've got
Yeah, you do. I thought when initially I'd like to see it again. When it comes to Steve Davis, can he hit it? You know, it's rolled on as though Diallo's laying him for the shot. No, it's behind him. He does the right thing, and maybe just hits that slightly over hit. He's got Arfield, he has to adjust his feet, he can't get the power on it, and you're absolutely spot on. You have to do a lot more to score into Craig Gordon from there.
Scored a fine goal in the semi-final win over Celtic, did Arfield. to be unorthodox. There's Diallo. And Ebo gives it back to Davis. Kent. And you can see him shuffling for space inside the D. Off target.
Such quick feet from Ryan Kent to get his shot away. Thought the chance had gone. Could have been slipped back into Diallo, but you see it here, a little shift in the ball, swivel of the hips, just can't wrap his left foot round it. Okay, Gordon sees that roll past the post. Here's this pass from Craig Halkett. Craig Gordon, to be fair, does well. I thought when it dropped he could maybe just clear it. He tries to play it out of trouble, and in actual fact ends up playing into trouble, but not the ideal pass back from Craig Halkett.
Just have to imagine what Craig Gordon was seeing as that was coming towards him.
I wonder if it's one where normally when the ball comes towards a goalkeeper like that, their instinct is to grab it with their hands. But obviously you never normally get a pass like that from your own teammate who's fully aware that he can't catch it, but sometimes it's just muscle memory and the hands go up, so he does well to deal with it in the end.
Always remember it was Theo Snelders, former Aberdeen and Rangers goalkeeper, just after the pass-back rule was put in place back in the early 90s. He really struggled with it in a cup final against Rangers. I think that was back in 92-93. Memory. Yeah, he did well.
The ball coming back there, Halkett's running on here, Craig Gordon screaming at him, no, it's fine, I've got it. He doesn't want it passed back.
There's Craig Gordon's old pal, your old pal, Alan McGregor. Has he played his last game for Rangers, do you think?
I mean, there's lots of stories coming out that he will be, but I think what Alan McGregor's shown this season is he's still a top-class goalkeeper. I think it'd be a shame if he decides to hang the gloves up, but what a tremendous career he's had, tremendous servant to Rangers, top-class goalkeeper. I still think he's got loads left in the tank, but it'll come down to whether he feels he can go again with the training and put his body through it. Alan McGregor has earned the right to make that decision, and whatever he does, then I wish him all the best, but it'd be a shame to see him bow out.
Van Bronckhorst sticking with his cup goalkeeper today. Alan McGregor's 40, Craig Gordon's 40 on Hogmanay this year. Here's Ellis Sims. Atkinson for Hannick. Suter. Off he goes. Sims. Mackay. More than capable from there.
It certainly is. What a run it is from John Suter. Just busts through Ebo and Kent. He's wanting to go for the 1-2 again. Changes his mind. Yeah, Barry Mackay. Expect him to at least hit the target from there. It's a nice set from Ellis Sims. He's just leaning back. It's too much on it. It's over the bar, but much better from Hearts.
Position, Sims. Back off, boys. It's fabulous from Mackay. Eventually it runs into a cul-de-sac. Rangers give it away. Devlin for boys. It's a little bit scrappy down there right now. Ball and it goes out. Taverniers kept in it. John Suter's time just returned very nicely. It's to play in the Scottish Cup final, and you would expect him to be in Steve Clarke's Scotland squad, which is announced on Monday for the Nations League, but priority initially is that World Cup playoff semi against Ukraine here on a week of Wednesday. Scored that John Suter. The game against Denmark. Just straight back to Atkinson. Plenty more to come, even though the season's just about over. We get highlights of this very final tonight.
I'm now back, folks.
10:20. On Monday, St Johnston against Cali Thistle, highlights of the second leg of the Premiership playoff final. What a game that was last night. And then the Scottish Women's Cup final comes up a week tomorrow, 4 o'clock on BBC Alaba. St Johnston 2-0 up in the Highland capital, pegged back. You can see that on the iPlayer highlights of last night's first leg. Worth it for the Reece McAleer goal. Marks give it away when they were moving into the final third, and Rangers are away in a counter here. It's a wonderful pass by Davis. It really was. This is Aribo, who blocked by Suter. Sure, Aribo generated the power that was going to beat Craig Gordon anyway. Gordon gets there ahead of him.
What?
It's tight change.
Yeah, as you would expect. You know, it's a game where, for different reasons, you know, both sides coming into the game with hopes and aspirations of winning, but question marks over us, you know, in the season for Rangers, how they're going to respond. But the players are certainly up for it. They're putting on a show. It's very, very evenly contested, and Ellis Sims has had probably the best chance of the game, but nothing really outstanding.
Come on, Arts.
Kent. Looking for that post, and Alex Coughlin decided to take no chances. Rangers corner.
Come on, Arts.
Heading into the final 10 minutes of the first half. Rangers Suter is having a good game. Been out for so long. Kent. Easy meet for Craig Gordon. From John Suter's point of view, James, he's playing his last game for Hearts. He's moving to Rangers. We've seen it before. Remember Charlie Nicholas playing for Aberdeen against Celtic in 1990. Indeed, he scored a penalty in the shootout, knowing he was going back to Celtic. Helped Aberdeen win the trophy that year. How difficult will that be, do you think, for him?
I think, you know, you always have that emotion when you're leaving a club. And
What's the name of the area in Barnsley called?
But John Suter's a professional. We want to go and win, leave on a high, win the trophy for Hearts.
What?
Walk into Rangers as a winner as well. So, look, professionally, you just got on with it. Of course, there will be some sort of emotion there for him, but during the game, he'll be thinking about trying to win the trophy and doing whatever it takes. And after it, he can worry about what his reception is like into the dressing room.
Okay.
The challenge by Diallo after Hoffman's run. Full credit to Robbie Nielsen, Joe Savage, who things in the transfer department for Hearts. Just about every player they brought to the club for this season. He's been a good signing. Compton, one of them, Mackay, another.
Come on.
There's Kingsley.
That's a ball.
Here.
Oh, that's not a foul. Aribo just went, or Bassey just went down too easily.
Doesn't need to do it either. They are
Boo.
wrestling.
Shy, it's not shy, mate.
And the ball is, Kevin Bassey's not winning it. Atkinson down the side doesn't have to make that foul.
Here's Kent. Bassey. Cross it comes! Across the face of goal. Maribo is left beating the turf in frustration.
No wonder it's a huge chance. Great ball, and Aribo does excellent to get across the front. Ryan Kent started so well, drawing players in towards him. Just look at the run from Aribo. He just doesn't get enough on it. I think he should do better there. It's a great ball in from Bassey. He just can't get enough on it.
Yeah, they're having to improvise just now, Rangers, without Alfredo Morelos. The last few months, the last couple of months, and Kemar Roof clearly not ready to start the game. He came on in the final few minutes of extra time with penalties in mind the other night, as did Aaron Ramsey, but clearly the latter didn't pay off. Roof converted his pretty well. Apart from Aaron Ramsey, the standard of penalties on Wednesday was outstanding. Frankfurt scored all theirs.
It was Liam, and unfortunately someone has to miss in penalty shootouts. And Aaron Ramsey was that player, but he goes out to warm up 5 minutes or so ago. Great reception from the Rangers fans.
Yeah, he would have appreciated that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, no doubt about it, because we had John Lundstrom speaking about.
Yeah, he's just lost out to Devlin. Boys, the momentum of the attack taken away from him. And he's been left on the deck, as you can see in the bottom of your picture there. A big injury down for this game. Robbie Nielsen did say to us beforehand he wondered how long he'd last today. Back on his feet now. Bassey. Oh, against the vultures are circling. Here comes the Calvin Bassey, so big hitters are interested.
He won't be the only one, Liam. The performances Rangers put in throughout the European campaign, you know, they didn't just sit in and smash and grab their way to the final. They played some brilliant football, attacking football, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's, you know, teams looking at many of the players in a Rangers jersey.
Took out some big names as well. Also in previous seasons too, was Cochrane is the latest writhing on the deck. There's Tavernier, who's been accused.
Yeah, I don't see much in that, to be honest, Liam. I really don't. I think Tavernier's just going in. If anything, Cochrane runs into Tavernier. See it again here. It's not a foul. It's not a foul for me. It looks like Tavernier's going to step on his foot. He doesn't. Just stands his ground. Cochrane goes into the back of him. Yeah, it's not a foul for me.
Rangers are unbeaten against Hearts this season. So draw at Ibrox, they won the last three, including last weekend. Albeit we could forgive the players last week for having other things in their minds, albeit Rangers were a much changed outfit in the day. Bassey finds Kent. Handball. Not getting that. Nice little touch there by Lundstrom. Kent. Cross for Diallo. Several chances have come from that side, and they both come for headers.
That's great movement from Diallo. Gamble's getting into that back post. And it just comes off the top of his head. He has to get his forehead on it. And here's the one for the handballs by his side. Absolutely no chance that that's a foul, free kick, penalty, whatever you want. But the Diallo chance, he has to do better. It comes off the top of his head. He needs to meet that with the forehead and get that on target.
Sims. Mark's looking for a lead before the break. Atkinson has to settle for the corner. Good defending by Goldson.
That is, it's great defending, delaying Sims, reading the pass and getting the block in.
Barry Mackay's going to take it. The Hearts fans up the other end of Hampden. Hoping they can profit here. Another great delivery by Mackay. We've got the giants in there, Suter, Sims, Halkett. Rebo at the other end. Kent. Quite get away from Atkinson, but Rangers up the pitch here as we tick towards half-time. There's another look at this opportunity for Amad Diallo.
He does excellent to get inside Conklin. And you see it there, it's clearly off the top of his head. He needs to get that on the forehead, divert that towards goal. That is a huge chance, the best chance of the match for me.
Arfield. Davis. Calvin Bassey. And this time, he wasn't accurate. Annoyed with himself. Rangers signed Calvin Bassey from Leicester City, not last summer, but the one before. He hadn't played a senior game. The growth of Calvin Bassey has been before our very eyes this season. Really matured as a player. Good free kick. Really encouraging Amad Diallo to get back to his feet. Half-time, no stoppage time in the 2022 Scottish Cup final. No goals either. Ellis Sims hitting the post early on. But 11 minutes in, he stretched as much as he could. Aribo and then Diallo there with headed opportunities for Rangers. But it has been very, very tight out there. Half-time in Hampden is Rangers 0, Heart of Midlothian 0.
There were some heavy challenges in the opening minutes of the game as it started at a furious pace. The first big chance fell to Hearts as Boyce dragged his shot inches wide and Sims hit the post, and Diallo really should have done better at the back post with a header. It's finally poised at half-time. Craig, what have you made of the opening 45 minutes?
It's been quite tense, hasn't it? There's not been a lot of great attacking football. I think both teams are a little bit nervous, I sense that. But it's been quite even. That's one thing I would say. There's a few chances dotted about here and there, but no real continual pressure from any team.
No, not a lot of goalmouth action, Neil.
No, I think Craig's right. There's been periods of play where both sides have enjoyed a wee bit of the upper hand. There's interesting elements within the game where Hearts, if they're in a good position, Stevie, they're really putting pressure on Rangers. and aggressively. And I think Ellis Sims has been the man of the match for me so far. I think he's been a focal point for Hearts. I think even when he doesn't hold it in and win it cleanly, it's dropping down to those little players, which are Boyce and Mackay in behind.
Rangers,
and I think the way Rangers are set up with Lundstrom being the sole one, he's almost getting separated by the two players. So it might be just an adjustment of shape might solve that problem. But so far, nobody's really controlled the match. But for me, Diallo's got to score at the end there, and then it's a different team talk for both sides.
Yeah, Kenny, have you seen any signs of a hangover from Seville from the Rangers players?
No, not at all. I think obviously the team's been freshened up. There's touching on what Neil's saying about the way Hearts are kind of setting up a little bit defensively. I think Rangers just need to maybe move them a little bit more. The ball needs to move a little bit quicker. But you see when it goes wide, if you can get that quality that Bassey's got and coming into the box and you can fill it. Joe Rebo's got on the end of the cross, maybe should have done better, and definitely Ahmed Diallo probably should have at least hit the target with the opportunity he has.
So
again, I think Rangers have not had brilliant control, but in terms of the territory they've had, they seem quite set in Hearts half for long spells. They're a bit Hearts look comfortable in it. They're set back in the back five and they're pretty comfortable at the moment.
Yeah, Craig, you were quite happy with the amount of second balls that Hearts were picking up in midfield areas.
Yeah, I think that's Devlin's game, and Peter Haring reads the game particularly well as well. But they've got a power of work to do. We spoke about this during the first half. They have to shuttle back and forward across that midfield and try and stop lines of passing into the front three of Rangers. So it's been a little bit disappointing for me. You know, I expected more of a kind of.
I've cursed it by saying there's going to be lots of goals.
As a Hearts fan, and clearly you want Hearts to win, to win 0-0 at half time, they're in a very strong position.
They're staying in the game, and that's where Hearts are at the moment. I think Rangers are struggling without a sort of recognised striker. I think we all know that, and I'm not sure if Aribo really understands the runs that he needs to make, because sometimes he can be the one that runs in behind Hearts and stretches the game. But it's cagey. There's been two really good chances, one for each side. Ellis Sims, he's got contact on that ball that's come across the face of the goal from Boyce. He should score. And the header from he's a sitter that I just think he should score there.
Yeah, Neil, you mentioned Aribo when we were off camera watching the game there, and you're not really a fan of him at centre forward, are you?
No, because I think he's so effective from deeper positions, or coming in off the wide position onto that strong left foot, particularly if he plays off the right, where Diallo's operating. I agree with Craig, he can plug the gap. And a lot of teams have played with a withdrawn striker, so they come off. But when you come off the game, and you've got three centre-backs, somebody needs to occupy that space you've just left. So that either comes from a midfield runner, so it should be Arfield I spoke about before the game, or Davis. And this is why it might be a reshuffle, just to get someone that's going to go beyond, or indeed Kemar Roof comes on, Cedric Itten's still on the bench as well. But they need to really, I think, control that area. So far they've been a little bit vacant in those central positions. And Craig, you're right, to break the lines will disrupt that back five, because it is a back five at times for Hearts. They've been really disciplined. I thought there would be, I know we've got some clips dug out there, they could have really isolated Hearts if the wing backs of Hearts would have engaged the full back of Rangers, because that would have left the spaces for the centre backs. And I have to compliment the centre backs of Suter and Halkett. Craig, you said
a couple of great blocks, Halkett's one especially.
But they don't look as if they've been out, Stevie. Now that's either very good players, which they are, but also I don't think they're getting tested. This guy would have run him ragged, because he would go in behind, and what that does, it deepens a centre back then, because he's worried about him going in behind, so he takes a half yard that way. That gives the space then to get people in between, but so far it hasn't been evident.
But also, Neil, if you're a centre back and the striker's playing in front of you all the time, you can see your opponent and the ball. As soon as you go that way, you have to turn your back on the ball, and it does stress you, there's no doubt about that. But I haven't seen it at all from any of the Rangers players in this first half, and I'm sure that'll be.
They're so static. You know, that's the thing about the Rangers with this. Without the recognised nine, I think Joe's done great in Morelos' absence, and definitely in the Old Firm game here, and in the Old Firm game before, and in the Leipzig game, he was excellent. You know, he done it well. I just think he needs to take more part in the game. So whether it's going one way or the other, he needs to try and move. And when he does, you need a bit of that opposite movement for his teammates. They need to recognise what he's doing. They need to start playing together. A little bit how Boyce and Sims are actually, they connect really, really well.
You mentioned Boyce and Sims. Let's look at this chance at the start of the game. It was a massive opportunity, wasn't it?
It was, you know, and this is what Neil's saying. When the ball goes up to him, he's so good at just bringing it down or getting other people into play. And for me, I think Boyce is shooting there, He's dragged it across the box. But again, there's that link up. There's the reading of the situation. Support for the wing back.
Should he go with his left foot?
You know, I just think he probably should score. He might just be stretching a little bit too much. He's got everything he's got into it, but again, the link up was there.
I think he's been brilliant. I really think he's been an absolute handful. Yeah, absolutely. He's changing his position. Sometimes he's a focal point, other times he drifts just to a wider position, and that's when it gives Lundstrom a problem, because he thinks if he's gone from the central position across, he's in, do I go with him? If he goes with him, it opens up a little space for Boystock and then or Mackay. Mackay's a good chance there, he doesn't commit to it. For me, this is where Barry Mackay needs to believe in himself a lot better, because he looks as if he lacks the belief that he's going to score. And if you do that, generally you're not fully committed because you don't believe in yourself. So there's lots of positives for Hearts, but the main one is working off of Ellis Sims up top and their shape.
Yeah, Craig, there hasn't been many chances for Rangers. A couple of half sniffs, but Diallo's one clearly the chance of the match. But they had these ones before.
Yeah, that was a good switch of play. Diallo gets in. I think he needs to be more accurate with what he does with the ball there. And then if it's not on, he can turn out back onto his left foot. But he just plays the ball, I think, just hopefully across the front of the goal. We haven't seen an awful lot of Kent in this match. He's had little moments, but not enough for me.
You see
that's brilliant from Halkett there.
Yeah, fantastic piece of defending. Gordon might have saved it, but look, it's better not to have to save it than save it.
And we've not had that relentless pressure that we're so used to seeing from Rangers throughout the season, where they're on top of teams and chance after chance after chance.
Yeah, I think because the Hearts are dropping into that shape I spoke about, Stevie, they're not giving gaps to Rangers. Rangers are brilliant when gaps appear because they've got so many intelligent players. They're good at bouncing the ball around one touch. Kent in the wide area, I think he fancies it again, because when he comes inside, this is an unbelievable cross. Let me tell you, as an ex-winger, I love to see guys just wrapping their foot around.
Well, as an ex-striker, Kenny,
yeah,
you know,
this has come off the top of his head. He's got to score.
Like initially does great to get in front of Cochrane, but he probably closes his eyes there and it just hits the top of his head. But when you're in there, all you need to do is if you get that on target, the pace is on the cross.
Yeah.
All you do is directing that towards the goal, and he's obviously he's way off target, but it's a wonderful chance. Rangers' best chance of the half.
It is. Would you expect Rangers, looking at their bench, to make some changes fairly soon into the second half?
I'm not sure if Giovanni Van Bronckhorst will do it at half time. He might let it breathe for 10 minutes, but I think it will come soon enough. As I said to you, without forward runs, they've got Aaron Ramsey who makes great runs. If you're going to play with one holding and two in front, I think Aaron Ramsey must come into consideration. You've got a natural striker in Roof there. Don't know how fit he is. Kenny and I discussed it. I thought he could have started. And it's going to that Robbie Nielsen one. Robbie's twisted. So he might have lost Boyce after 10-15 minutes, but he's thinking it's better he's on the pitch and then has to come off. If you go where a player is slightly injured, you put him on and then have to retract him from the game injured, then it's probably a mistake. So they've got options there to change the game. I do think that he will have to change it in order to try and break this backline of Hearts.
The link-up play between Hearts, Ellis Sims and Liam Boyce has been good, but also the way they set up and pressed Rangers from the off.
Yeah, there was some good examples early on of the front three, and the distances between them quite short, and the mid two in behind them, there isn't really many gaps there. So Rangers have to switch the ball from side to side, but they need to do it much quicker than they have been doing. And again, here's Barry Mackay taking a chance, putting pressure on the Rangers back line. And there's the three of them in contact again.
There's information being passed as well all the time here. You see when Boyce went out wide, he was given the left hand to cover Lundstrom, and they're doing it well, so they interchange the positions well, but there's a structure to Robbie Nielsen's side
Clearly
today.
have been worked on in the training ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a back five. You can see there when it's strung along the line now. It's hard to break through a solid line. They're protecting almost, they're not quite the width of the box, but they're asking Rangers questions. If you're going to puncture through us, it has to be pinpoint, or you have to get proper 1-2s to then go and do that. They're almost offering up the wide area and saying when it goes out there, because we've got five in a line, we can lose one of the fullbacks to go out. I've still got four defending the box, so it's been really disciplined. It takes a lot of hard work and it takes a lot of mental concentration as well. And sooner or later, when people start getting tired, Craig, that's when mistakes and gaps start happening.
But you can see it really, really well actually from our position here. You can see the distance between the back line and their intent on not letting anyone go through. And every time the ball goes round, you get time to readjust.
Yeah. And
that's the whole idea of showing them into the wide areas. And it's, Rangers don't have what you would call an out-and-out number 9 to header the ball into the net from crosses. So Hearts have taken the chance that anything that Rangers get it comes round the outside and they'll deal with the crosses when they come in.
But that's why Rangers need to move it quicker, because they need,
Absolutely.
they need to take the width to move it, and eventually, come 80th minute, 85th minute, there'll be something that'll open up at some point. There'll be a gap there that Arfield or Ramsey, if he comes on, can exploit, because you need to work them. Just because they're really, really narrow and they're offering it up, take it and move them, you know, but then move it back over again. Something Rangers are really, really good at actually is having a little bit of control in the opposition half. But if you're going to keep banging your head against that brick wall without a recognised number 9, you're probably going to have Halkett, Suter, Kingsley are just going to eat it up. You know, you need to move them quicker.
It's also not going to tire any of the Hearts players with the slow pace of the ball across the midfield. You can jog across. You know, it's not like you're sprinting across to fill a gap. So that's what's happened in the first half. And Rangers have 2 or 3 times resorted to playing the ball long. That doesn't work against Hearts, not with Halkett and Suter. So they need to be a wee bit more imaginative in their play, and they must play much quicker.
Okay, well, if you want to re-watch today's action, you can watch it tonight on Sports Scene. That's at 10:30 on BBC One. Get all the reaction and drama and analysis. And the second leg of the Premiership playoff final is on Monday. We have the highlights at 11 o'clock on BBC Scotland. St Johnstone, who were in this final last season, host Inverness. Next Sunday, it's the Women's Scottish Cup final as Glasgow City take on Celtic at 4 o'clock on BBC Alpa. And finally, we also have a special programme on how the league was won.
Great place for Celtic to be in. The way that season went was horrific for them.
Celtic were damaged.
Coming into the summer, it was players wanting to leave, no manager in place.
I think Rangers came into the season really, really strong favourites.
There was a belief in what they were trying to achieve.
I think there was a little bit of complacency there.
The energy in the stadium, the fans,
It's fantastic.
it was all there.
When you think about Ange Postecoglou being appointed, was it actually going to be a success?
How the league was won, that's Friday the 27th of May at 10:30 on BBC Scotland. Now, if you're a player in those changing rooms right now, you know you're 45 minutes away. It's very, very evenly poised. The carrot is there to go and win a Scottish Cup final for both teams. It's such an incentive, Kenny.
It is, and you've got an opportunity to be that guy. You know, someone has to take the game by the scruff of the neck for either team. You know, you've got a chance to be a hero. It is so tight. It could be a moment of magic for someone. It could be a mistake. You know, so you've got a chance to go and be that guy, affect the game, and that says make something happen. Don't rely on someone else to be the guy. Go and take the game by the scruff of the neck and try and affect it.
Neil, do you expect Rangers to tire, and how big a factor is that going to be as we go into this second half?
Do you know what I might have done? But we've all witnessed them so many times this season just digging into the reserves, and they don't tire, but it's perfectly balanced.
Okay, well, we're about to hand back to James and Liam, so let's get the story of the first half.
Here we go, Hearts versus Celtic. Second half about to get underway, folks.
Rangers team mentally and physically. And can the Jam Tarts take advantage on Cup final day? Atkinson, through for Boyce. Sims is there. The post keeps him out. The first big chance of the Cup final goes to Hart. Maxi, across it comes. Across the basic goal. Maribo is left beating the turf in frustration. Well, it's the 5th time Rangers and Hearts have met in the Scottish Cup final. It's the first since Hearts' 2-1 win over Rangers in '98 at Celtic Park in what was Walter Smith's final game of his first spell in charge. They also met 1903, 76 and 96, the first 3 of those 4 meetings won by Rangers. Hearts won the last time they clashed in this competition. Oli Bazanic's goal enough to win a quarter-final tie at the end of February 2020.
Hearts gets on the way in the second half, folks.
Scottish Cup final underway. Hearts have never beaten Rangers at Hampden Park. That 1998 success came across the city at Celtic Park. So that is a record they will want to address today. No changes from either manager for the start of the second half. Rangers shooting towards their own fans in the west end of the stadium. Hearts in the maroon shoot east. 50-50 split with the tickets for this final. There were plenty of people outside inquiring if anyone had spares. None to be had today, I don't think. Not much between them then in the first half, James McFadden.
No, I think it was fairly even. A couple of decent chances apiece, but maybe not enough.
There's Kent.
Come on.
It's a good ball, just a bit too high for Diallo. And Cochrane concedes the first corner of the second half.
Kent free down that left-hand side. And he just, it's a great cross with the left foot. Into a good area. Diallo just mistimes the run. Gets up too early. Butts out for a corner. They've got a chance now to put it on the box.
Tavernier. Allen left well. Doesn't get anything on it though. Field for Kent. Commanding header away by Craig Halkett.
Come on.
Here's Arfield. He was in the beaten Falkirk side the last time Rangers won this tournament. Tavernier runs for
And don't.
Kent. Good start to the second half here by Rangers. As he wants it back. As he gets
Go on. Ah, defend. Well done. Well defended. Well defended.
Half for Rangers. A lot more energy, a lot more intent.
Hope we have a good second half, folks.
Very interested in this Amad Diallo corner.
That was a rubbish corner, that was. That is never another corner, ref. Oh, okay, okay.
I wonder if the ball's went out from the corner directly. The way that Diallo is setting up, he's putting it on the byline as he's hitting it, and it's unusual if you're hitting an outswinger to hit it from there. And he's done it a couple of times. The delivery's been poor, and I did wonder if it was going to go straight out the park before it come back in.
Go on. Oh.
Rangers end of this tournament in the quarter-finals in each of the last 3 seasons. St Johnstone, who eventually went on to win it. Hearts, as I mentioned at the start of the second half.
Oh, hello.
Better off than the season before. Lost to Aberdeen
Oh.
the season before that.
Mason Mount got robbed.
Here in Celtic, they hadn't won
People are saying that Mason Mount got robbed of Young Player of the Year all season.
When they reached the final in 2016, they were taken to a replay by
Because Phil Foden got it, and then if you put both of their stats together, Mason Mount outdoes Foden in every single stat.
Blue and white storm at the start of the second half.
Even my dad saying he's not surprised. It's due to where Man City are in the league and due to the season that they've had. The only good thing is, no Liverpool player has won it, so that's good. But the player of the year is Kevin De Bruyne, which is that one. He definitely deserves it.
With Stephen Kingsley around, and obviously James Tavernier's a weapon up the other end. Hasn't been much of that today. A few niggly fouls.
I would have thought we would have at least got at least one player up for player of the season, player of the year. Nope. I think even Man United got one player up for player of the year. And what have they done? And they did nothing.
Atkinson, who is perplexed.
He's so powerful, Bassey, isn't he? Knocks it round, Atkinson puts the arm across. I have to say, there's no contact there. fortunate to get the free kick there, Calvin Bassett.
Come on, Wickham. Because I want it to end good for Akinbewa Kefenwa.
Balogun. Bassey's away again down on this near side.
Come on.
Shouldn't find the cross, but the Rangers supporters enjoyed that.
Rangers, you're going to bottle it like you did the Europa League.
There comes a little spin on the ball. It's just brilliant from Calvin Bassett. Just that strength to get through initially. A little turn, little flick through the legs. Can't get his cross in the end, but
He was actually born in Aosta in northern Italy in the shadows of Mont Blanc. Was Calvin Bassey. He's a Nigeria international. His first couple of caps in March. World Cup qualifiers against Ghana.
he's always smiling as well.
Here's Davis.
Come on.
Great control there by Davis initially. Glad to be having more of an influence on things. Northern Ireland captain.
Come on, Wickham. Please go.
Diallo. Taken away from Anibo by Suter. Anibo's eye had a real turn.
This just needs extra time written all over it.
Not well by McLaughlin, but Leon Balogun did well to stick to Sims there.
So,
Just before that, a header from John Suter is absolutely magnificent. He's got a player either side when he has to win it. He gets up well and heads it clear.
Dorking 1-1 with Ev's Fleet to go into the National League.
It's been a quick turnaround for the Rangers fans. And around about 150,000 in Andalusia.
Oh, that's a
Amazing
crap
for
ball.
This is left Liam. I met a couple on the way to the toilet half time there and he barely speaks, so fair play to them. A full voice today.
And well documented the problems his supporters in the stadium had getting water. Some of the Rangers players I noticed during the game, Leon Balogun, I saw throwing water into the stands as helpful as he could be. Scott Wright was doing it after the game as well.
Come on.
An apology has been issued by the UEFA. Robbie Nielsen showing he's still got a decent touch down there. Won the Scottish Cup in 2006, indeed scored Hearts' second penalty in the shootout against Gretna.
Come on. You did trouble the keeper.
Everybody else
It's
has
not done enough.
played for Hearts and managed Hearts to the Scottish Cup. The history perhaps for Robbie Nielsen this afternoon.
Put it in the box.
Shooter.
That is crap.
Lundstrom. There's Arfield. There's Davis.
Good
Touch
challenge.
by Kingsley, but Diallo could be away here.
They're not letting shitty ass Diallo score.
It's a good chance for Rangers to break. John Suter stepped into whip that ball in. There was gaps there they just couldn't find.
Man United
Amar
reject.
Davis going for the switch to Ryan Kent. Diallo well matched by Halkett.
And man Diallo is that youngster from Man United. The Rangers have got on loan.
Oh, Gordon. Well, there's nonchalant and there's nonchalant.
He did score within about 5 minutes of his debut, but he was playing Ross County.
I don't know if the communication could Craig Gordon come and just clear it, but then shows that composure just to flick it away, see his options.
I mean, he's a cool customer anyway. You wouldn't know he'd been under heavy duress there.
And also, come on, Wickham.
We're going to win the Scottish Cup for that fourth time. He's got 2 medals from his time at Celtic.
They're not even playing Akinbayo Akinfenwa, you absolute thing. Let him play a 90-minute game on his final appearance. And let him have a chance of scoring the goal. Get it back in it.
Back in his boyhood club. He wants to keep going.
That's why I think you might think if they were to have if they started him, you never know, they might not have conceded that goal because they might have had a different way they were going to play of how they, from what they have started playing.
5 more years. Yeah, he used to cut the sleeves off his shirt because of Buffon as well. When Buffon started at Craig, he's like, yeah, I want a bit of that. Good on.
I wouldn't be surprised if Akinfenwa goes into coaching because he could be a good coach.
Stephen Kingsley is an attacking threat today, and he's claiming Murray Collin has disappointed him.
I don't like it. I'd like to see it again here. I'd like to come back off. Goldson.
That's a corner, ref.
Well spotted.
Wow, and it looks like at the moment York City are going to go into the National League.
24th major final all told.
And they're playing against Boston United.
Well, it's the 4th most successful club in Scottish Cup history. Celtic, Rangers and Queen's Park ahead of them.
What a save.
Great goalkeeping from Craig Gordon. Great pass down the run from Kent's excellent. Craig Gordon's alert to snuff that out. Look at the run from Kent, just bends it. He takes a decent enough touch, it's just sharpness.
Well, there's going to be another team up north in that league because most of the teams in National League are mostly you got to go south. Long journeys to go to most of the game to go when you travel away.
And the yellow's out for the Rangers player.
If I think it's the same in the National League North and National League South, they both go into the National League if they both win their respective finals. Yeah. So it's going to be it's going to be a lot more competitive, especially with Dorking when their aim is basically to get to the Football League and they have done for literally 10 years. Yeah. The only difference with Dorking to any other team is that their manager's also the club's owner. And the guy literally dresses in full black. He looks like he's some person who you don't want to bump into on the streets by the way he dresses. And you literally will shout for 90 minutes and will absolutely have a go at the ref for 90 minutes. He's one of them sort of managers. So basically he takes no for an answer. That'll be the one. Ah, it was Akinfenwa. He would have buried it.
Game for the Rangers supporters to go through.
Does that symbolise? Yep. And have you heard now that Ashley Barnes has come out about all this thing that the two clubs are doing against Everton and saying that also the referees want us to get relegated as well. That he's now bringing up more excuses that referees want Burnley relegated. Like you say, it's just jealousy.
He's been in that situation myself, very upset with the referee.
Oh, let's see if he's playing today. Is he playing? He's on the bench.
He's asking for trouble.
No.
He needs to be careful. Needs to be careful. Willie Collins just having a quiet word with him there.
He is on the bench. Jack, there's a team in Denmark which they signed Jack Wilshere, and he's on the bench. He's now playing in Denmark.
Rangers are going to be making a change pretty soon. Scott Wright's been readied. Started the Europa League final
So he's playing against a team who are fourth.
against Leipzig. That was a direct
And
change.
how did you predict the future before it even happened? Because you said Roman Reigns would get involved for it to happen, and it did. But you did miss out one factor. You said Roman Reigns to get involved, but you missed out Paul Heyman because he also got involved to help.
There's no doubt that will be part of
Yeah,
his
what
thinking.
Roman Reigns did is he deliberately decided if you take out Randy Orton out of it, then they're done, and he deliberately went and targeted Randy Orton.
Comes into Boyce. Over the Hartsman's way.
And there's a tag team that have now lost their belts. The women's tag team titles have lost their belts now.
Stands his ground, Ryan Kent.
That's Sasha Banks and Naomi lost their belts due to the fact that they didn't like being involved in this match. So they thought they went to an office, dropped the belts off, and walked out.
Change will happen now. Ahmad Diallo.
They would have gone up against superstars like Becky Lynch, Asuka,
Manchester United.
up for a chance to have a chance at facing Bianca Belair for the women's title, and they didn't want that. They're tag team champions. They would want to be something that involves tag teams, not singles. So they didn't like the participants that they're up against, and they didn't like being involved because it wasn't. It's a bit weird. Your tag team. I think it was Becky Lynch and Asuka, and he said I didn't want to be up against them. It would have been a six. I think it would have been a 6-pack or 6-man something, and I think the winners of that have an opportunity for that. But 2 dropped out, so it meant that Asuka and Becky Lynch had just a singles match to determine who faced Bianca Belair instead.
First change.
When they didn't want to be involved in it. Their main concern is just being as a tag team and being tag team champions and defending those as a tag team, not doing any singles matches, because that's their main goal as champions. They made them have to go up against each other,
2020, 2006.
and they didn't want to go up against each other, so they thought we'll relinquish the belts, drop it off at Laurinaitis' office, and they walked out on Raw mid-broadcast. But for one, a lot of people have slandered them, but a lot of people have said they've done what's best for them.
That's useful. Just a bit too much on it for Sims.
If they don't want to be involved in it, just let them not be involved, and you could just have a singles match between 2 people.
Too early, went beyond that near post, and he stands out in the middle. He's got a chance to go and attack it.
And you know what's made it even worse? They're being indefinitely suspended.
See where the ball's going, then you can make your run.
Sasha Banks and Naomi have been indefinitely suspended.
A handful for them, Sims.
For what they did, so it means we might not even see him back at all. So that means they won't be coming back.
25 minutes of the 90 are left. Peter Harris.
I watched AEW, and what happened to Daniel Bryan after airing happened of the last AEW thing was appalling.
Boyce.
Chris Jericho's Appreciation Society did to him. It was appalling.
Really important challenge by Ryan Kent of all people.
They got like this ring walk, and then they got the ring literally next to it. They planted his foot in between where the walk bit is and the ring, so his leg got physically trapped, and he couldn't move. And the longer it stays there, the less blood flow or damage it's going to do. So they were like quickly to try and get it out as much as they can, but he just couldn't move. And it took him like half an hour just to get it out.
Atkinson's come back on. Right.
There, you got John Moxley, you got Willa Yuta, Daniel Bryan. So you got one of them. Yeah, some are by the original name, but then there's some that already were there. The Blackpool Culture Club is actually now got even bigger because they now ally themselves with Ortiz, Santana, and Eddie Kingston. So then, because they've all got a grudge against this Chris Jericho Appreciation Society, so they've all grouped up together. Oh, it's the GTR's 2.0, or like Danny Garcia and all that lot, with Chris Jericho and Jay Hager.
A good spell to start the second half, but without creating a great opportunity, Ryan Kent has the chance, Craig Gordon snuffs it out, but there haven't been many good chances in the game, and it's been fairly even. And you feel that it's either going to take an absolutely brilliant piece of play, or
I'm just looking forward to MJF to basically get his comeuppance in a few weeks. MJF is going up against Wardlow, and Wardlow's going to rip him in two because he's been literally treating him like shite. He basically had to go through 10 lashes to be able to have a fight with him. So it's just awful.
That's what he's done. Liam Boyce has gone down. That's a worry for Robbie Nielsen. He's got back up now.
So again, it's good refereeing. Massey just a block on Atkinson, and he lets it play on while they call him, pulls it back. I think that's good refereeing.
Boyce is back to his feet. I'm not sure how much longer he's lasting.
I'd imagine they've been paying from the start of the game, Liam, and it'll just be any when you're playing through the pain barrier, any break, any stop and play, you feel it. But he seems to be moving okay at the minute. It's just when the game stops, you feel it.
Cristiano Ronaldo, season's over. He's ruled out of the game against Crystal Palace tomorrow.
Because anything, any good plays come through. Boyce, Sims. He's played well this afternoon.
Well, Robbie Nielsen's picking his starting 11. He can't do it with a penalty shootout in mind, but if it does go to penalties, you'd rather have Liam Boyce on the pitch than not. And there he is.
Absolutely.
His commitment to the cause there.
Committed to the cause.
Atkinson wins the free kick. It's getting pretty niggly out there now.
Niggly.
Yeah, it's just ramping up, isn't it? Last 20 minutes.
Been like that for a while.
Kent's pulling him back. Colin just having a word with Robbie Nielsen. I suspect it's because he's standing with his arms out.
He wasn't happy, was he?
Come on. Head. Oh, twat.
Down goes McLaughlin.
He's got to do better. too long, it's too high, it's going to wash it in the bottom, giving them loads of time to look, judges run. Great goalkeeper, come and take the pressure off the defence there.
Wickham, bring on Akin Fenway, please.
Scott Rngers in, Kingsley defending his play. This is a goal kick. Willie Collins going to give Rangers a corner.
It's excellent from Scotland. Driving forward, 1-2, goes again.
How on earth did Zambos not score?
Obviously good defending. In the end from Kingsley.
Rangers have only failed to score in 7 of their 64 games this season. Tavernier takes. Golson's header. Shooter's header, once or twice.
Come on. I just see extra time written in this match.
Passing for Kent. Getting towards the business end of the Scottish Cup final. Davis Golson didn't win it. Looks like he's away. Connor Golson. The number of games he plays is remarkable.
Leeds and Burnley are now getting very pushy.
Just a matter of years ago. And he's had a good time of it. 4 years, 4 seasons. At Rangers. Arrived from Brighton. He's a very important player for Steven Gerrard, and then now for Giovanni Van Bronckhorst.
Yeah, and have his ready-made replacement in opposition today, so he's been a great servant for Rangers. Scored goals, as you say, to play the amount of games he does, he's always available, very rarely injured. Nobody lost for them.
Scored right. Says that Andy Howard is going to be
Come on.
pretty soon. Former Rangers player.
Someone do something.
Brilliantly done. It's a replay. Couldn't get there.
But don't do anything.
In a pullback as
But
well.
don't let Rangers score.
One across the 6-yard line. Good spell this for Rangers.
I think the ball is on for Arfield when it goes to a reball. Ryan Kent, he's got to gamble just in case he flashes that cross. But look at Scott Arfield, the space he's in. Yeah, it's probably covered by John Sewer. Ryan Kent has to gamble at that back post.
Come on, Hearts.
With it.
Well done.
Needs it clear. Kent. Lundstrom.
Legend. Even if some people don't call him a legend, he is.
Lundstrom. For Balogun to Bassey. And they pick their way through here. Bassey might do it himself. But I could run that is.
Nearly 1-0 Rangers.
He smothers it. How good was that from Calvin Bassey?
It's outstanding from Calvin Bassey. Shapes the ball now, the left, just drags it inside, keeps going, it opens up on his right foot. Good save from Craig Gordon, but brilliant from Calvin Bassey.
I know what they should do. When Akin Fenway comes on, give him the captain's armband. This is literally the last 15 minutes of his career.
Will come off. He's managed almost 75 minutes here. Came off in the league game last weekend. Rangers, with even their B teams, practically the C team, they were out 1-3-1 at Tynecastle. March yet to get a shot on target. Rangers have managed a couple now. It hasn't been a game.
Come on, Hearts. 50 minutes ago. Let's see what can happen.
Will be the ones that have come along have been pretty good. There's the change. Off comes Price.
Come on, Howard. It shows what you made of.
On the score sheet when Rangers lost the Hibs in 2016. In a blue shirt. He was on in the maroon for the last last 15 minutes. As it stands, extra time.
It's interesting to see where Halliday would play. It looks like he's playing in that advanced role, just straight slot for Liam Boyce. He looked fine as well, Liam Boyce, but it must be just too much for him. And it's a blow for Hearts that he has to come on.
Beast.
Wouldn't expected him to be able to play the 90 and extra time if required.
Jeez.
He did hint at that before.
That is some record. 755 appearances in the EFL. That is some record.
Brilliant from Tavernier.
That really has to get a corner from that situation. Look like the ball was running out of play. Showing that energy, that fitness again, Tavernier.
He's got tremendous respect for John Gregg as James Tavernier. Gutted that he didn't win Europa League during the week. Joined John Gregg in that illustrious country. Comes the corner.
Whoa!
It's wayward. John Gregg won the Scottish Cup 6 times for Rangers.
And that Rangers. Can't score that.
Challenge that Cup Winners' Cup. League titles.
Get the ball to Akinfenwa and let him have a shot and see if he can score.
Giovanni Van Bronckhorst and Dave Voss, his assistant. Maybe another change for Rangers. Just a moment. Dave Voss is speaking to Glenn Kamara and Ryan Jack. With your picture.
Come on, I don't want extra time.
You mentioned Stephen Davis hasn't really been able to get his foot in the ball too often today.
No one has.
No.
It's been that type of game.
I think definitely be Kamara. And I think Jack's going to come on as well. And there'll be a double change.
Come on, Wickham. Don't let Sunderland shite win.
Looking at Davis and Arfield here, we shall see. Right. Blocked there by Devlin.
Come on, Hearts. Come on.
Davis.
You bunch of rats.
Tavernier swings it in.
And also at the same time, Akinfenwa, can you please score?
Getting to the point where one goal might decide this cup final. Bassi.
That's not a foul. That is not a foul. He made the most of that. He dived and he knew he dived. What? That's a foul. Thank you, ref. But what the other git for diving? Because he know he dived, and that's because Rangers players always dive. What a diving git.
There was a foul, a clear foul from Andy Halliday.
That is not a clear foul. What have you been watching? Go to Specsavers.
Shakes the cross, little check back.
Well,
That ain't a clear foul. The referee doesn't see it as the foul. The referee doesn't see it as the foul.
Why else should they go down?
Players go down a lot of times just because if even if you tap them.
and Van Bronckhorst is talking to the fourth official, Nick Walsh, down there as well, as you can see.
Oh.
Tarek. Josh Ginnelly is going to come on for Hearts as well.
Yeah, let's get a bit of pace into the team.
From both teams. And Jack will replace Davis.
Glenn Kamara.
Is going to replace Arfield. By the sounds of things, it's the first change. It will be Scott Arfield. It's the Finland international.
No, not him. Fuck's sake. The one player for Sunderland I don't like, and he has to score.
Who started the Europa League final.
I just can't stand the git. I just don't like him.
Arfield and Davis.
Certain players for it.
It's the final 10
If he
minutes
played for any
of
other
the
club, it'd
final.
be shite.
Score now.
So if Sunderland don't have him playing, they're shite. Come on, Wickham! You just need to get a goal back and it's game on. Legend, legend, and nothing but a legend. He's played at more than one club. He's played at more than one club.
Yeah, he's frustrated. He hasn't been able to affect things. He did have a goal earlier. It went over the bar. Former Rangers player replaced by Ginelli, who had an initial loan spell at the club last season from Preston, signed a 2-year deal upon his return. On the clock here. I was asking Mark Haley and Richard Foster in Seville and Wednesday.
Looks like it's going to be extra time.
At what stage between now and 90 minutes we start to think, you know what, we might be better having the extra
How many?
hour rather
1,
than
2,
8 minutes
3,
plus stoppage time you've got left here?
What, as a player or as a manager? Both. Player, I think you're just trying to, depending on your position, you're trying to go and...
He's been at 15 clubs.
Managers, they might be thinking, yeah, look, if we can try and make a few tweaks, get a stoppage and make a few tweaks and, you know, take it to extra time, but I'm sure that they'd much prefer that...
But most of his career's been with Wickham.
Because it's so finely balanced, do you go and overcommit?
But before then, he was at 15 other clubs, just bobbing around for like a season or a bit each time. And he's even.
Rangers have it in their minds to win it here before extra time, and Kent's
Yep.
headed behind by Shooter.
It's weird how his career actually started in not Slovenia, was it Lithuania? His career started at, which I didn't even know. It is, if you want to get yourself any football you can, start your career.
Tavernier takes it.
Ooh. That would have been one player I would love to see in the Premier League. I would have.
Just can't get it downwards. Probably the best set piece cross from Rangers. Balogun does well to that and got something on it.
Northampton Town Gillingham. Northampton Town Gillingham. No, that's a scenario in itself. Come on, Hearts! Get a go! Get a go! Come on, Hearts! Come on, Hearts! Come on, Hearts! Come on, boys.
There's Kamara. Scott Wright. John Lundstrom.
Don't let that useless guy score.
Kent's cross. It's his head to Kamara.
Head injury, ref. Head injury, ref.
Stop play. It was Atkinson's on the grass. Well, you have to stop it if it's a head knock. This was Lundstrom's effort.
John Short comes sliding out. Can't see from there if whether it hits his hand or not, but Angel exchange. Are you going to do the... Right, okay. Bassey for Rangers and Sufa for Hearts, unless Sims scores a winner.
There's Alfredo Morelos, and he'd like to be out there. Scored against Hearts a couple of times in the League Cup semi a couple of seasons ago. Nothing he can do about it.
Come on, Hearts.
Lindstrom.
Who have done the blooming nothing in the second half.
There'll be another Rangers corner. Hearts will be beating a little faster right now. Not just the Hearts supporters and players. Everyone inside this stadium on the edge of their seat. From Tavernier again. Defending by Hearts once more. Kent for Tavernier.
Come on, Hearts.
Flicked away by Cochrane.
Stop giving the ball away.
Rangers looking the more likely right now. Kent shows way too much of it to Cammy Devlin. Jack wins it back. Rangers come forward. Kent back to Ryan Jack. Looking for a Scottish Cup winner's medal. He was in the Aberdeen team, beaten late on by Celtic in 2017.
Come on, actually attack for crying out loud.
Creeps away from the goal. Final 3 minutes.
Shocking second half.
Screwing out Rangers, aren't they? Ryan Jack. Speculative, but never troubling Craig Gordon from that position.
Rangers will drop into the Champions League third qualifying round next season. If they won the Europa League, they would be straight into the boots. Still have a chance, they're going to be seeded. Hearts will be a priority one team as they look to try and get into the Europa League. They've got guaranteed group stage football themselves. Atkinson.
Come on, do so. Oh, we've actually finally going forward.
Coming on.
Wait, they finally got doing something.
Can Hearts win the cup late on here?
Hopefully.
It's a great chance for them. The deliveries from corners, free kicks haven't been great up until this point. This is a huge opportunity for Hearts.
Come on, Hearts.
Right in front of their own fans as well.
Yeah, they've got the scarves twirling.
Get your head on the ball.
Supporters. They sense something special might be in the air.
Don't say that, you might jinx it. You might jinx it. Commentator.
The trophy late on about this point in 2016. And it comes with
And then that's crap because it just hits it straight to the keeper. What a useless waste of a corner.
heading towards minute 90 at Hampden. The stakes.
Useless waste of a corner.
Here's Erivo. Digging it out for Ken. He's going to wait for Bassey. It's Calvin Bassey. And it's away by Suter. Well, they're both going for it.
Yeah, I think that's answered the question you asked me about 5 or 6 minutes ago.
Indeed.
Yeah, they're trying to win it. They don't want extra time, neither though.
Oh, come on.
You know what the injury time's going to be as soon as I can. You'll find out yourselves in 30 seconds. Anyway,
Come on, Hearts.
3 minutes I understand.
No.
Here's Ryan
Not
Jack
now.
chipping it in. Away by Suter. Bassey. Kamara gives it back to him.
Out.
Jack.
Get it out. Oh, so you give the ball back? What an idiot.
3 minutes confirmed. How's everyone's nerves? Nail-biting drama at Hampden. Right. It's Arriba.
Oh my god, what a save! Great God, what a save!
What a save that chance from Craig Gordon. What a save. Great play from Rangers. Great touch and strength from Aribo. I thought it was in.
What a save.
How important will that prove to be? Pretty important, you would think. In from Tavernier. Kingsley away. Goldson. Kingsley clears again. I tell you, Nat Atkinson had a fistful of Joe Aribo's shirt as well in the build-up to that.
Come on.
Kamara. Tavernier.
That is not a free kick, ref.
The assistant, Diggy Potter on the north stand side. The best view of that.
That is never been in a million long years.
The looks at both ends of Hampden say it all. Heading towards the final minute of injury time. Score now. You win the Scottish Cup. James Tavernier with the free kick.
Oh, the ball.
Twice Rangers have almost won the cup in the closing stages.
So close, isn't it? Scott Wright.
Can't believe they've hit the bar. Why did you give him a free header?
Great delivery from Tavernier again. Just agonisingly off the bar for Scott Wright.
When we talk about Craig Gordon's save again.
Do you know something? I feel as though when I see him make saves, sometimes I expect it. That one, I'm like, wow, you know, I know that's what he does. He's a top-class goalkeeper, but he never fails to amaze you. What a goalkeeper he is.
Is there time for another opportunity? Doesn't look like it. Willie Collins blowing for full time. And this Scottish Cup final.
It is now full going to extra time.
Time it has done. Craig Gordon's the main reason why it is. Another headline save from Scotland's number one. Just look at that. Shaved the post. Just when Van Bronckhorst thought his team had won the cup, he thought it may have been a penalty as well. Because Atkinson was holding Aribo's shirt. But this Scottish Cup final, a tight Scottish Cup final, is going to extra time. Rangers 0, Heart of Midlothian 0.
But you can feel the tension in the stadium, can't you? 90 minutes couldn't separate the teams. It's been so finely balanced. Craig, who's winning in extra time? Are we going to penalties?
Well, Hearts have survived the last couple of minutes there with two headers. In all reality, Rangers probably should have scored, but and also, I mean, what do we say about Craig Gordon with that save? I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I thought the ball was in. I was convinced the ball was in. And in the last second, he got a toe to it and just knocked it past the post.
Big moments, big players, you know, and he stood up when his team needed him. He's not had a lot to do over the course of the game, but in that almost the last kick of the ball, he's been asked a big question, and how he gets a stud on it and puts it just past the
Well, let's take a look at these chances. I mean, this is two big chances, Neil, to go and win the cup for Rangers.
So late on, this is when you start to get, you know, physically tired, Stevie, but mentally tired. Right away I'm thinking that Willie Collins going to give a penalty here because Atkinson gets a big hold of Aribo's jersey because he's wrong side. He lets go of it and then Aribo strikes it. For all intents and purposes, that's in the bottom corner.
It's an unbelievable
It's his decision to actually stand up big to try and, if he needs to go to the right, he can, but then stick out that big left heel.
That a penalty with VAR?
I think on VAR that's possibly given a penalty. Yeah, I think there's a case for it because there's a big pull of the jersey, but there's a concern for Hearts for me because they're getting deeper, they're getting pegged back. Rangers have shown amazing reserves of energy again. That at latter stages of the game, it's them. They keep on pushing. You would have thought maybe Hearts would have got stronger because of the exertions of Rangers on Wednesday evening, but again, they're just surprising everyone. But it's so finely balanced. It's one of these games you think Rangers have plenty of chances to put this game to bed. They haven't taken it. Does that mean it's going to be Hearts' day?
Do you think, Kenny, it's probably the last thing that Rangers wanted was another extra time after?
Here we go. Extra time's about to start soon,
on
folks.
Wednesday night to come here today and go into yet another extra time.
Well, there's no doubt much rather have won 90 minutes. But the one thing I will say, Rangers did have, we were talking about it during the half, they had a lot.
There we go. We've got a winner in the National League South final. Every United are going to be promoted. Dorking Wanderers miss out.
Okay, but can you hand back to James and Liam for extra time?
Well, Scottish Cup finals only gone to extra time 5 times in 35 years. Make that 6. 1987 when St Mirren beat Dundee United. 1990 when Aberdeen beat Celtic on penalties. The following year in 1991, that legendary final between Motherwell and Dundee United. Hearts Gretna in 2006, that went to a shootout, as did 2020 when Hearts took the 4-in-a-row winner Celtic to an extra.
Oh, shitty ass Sunderland won.
Made their noses in front in that shootout as well. Stephen Kingsley and Craig White were the unfortunate players. Celtic went on to win a quadruple treble after a 3-each draw. Different kind of cup final, this one. We don't know who's going to win this one. Rangers finished very strongly, has to be said. Ryan Kent gets the first period of extra time underway at the National Stadium.
Here we go. Extra time's on the way, folks. Rangers nil, Hearts nil.
Start the extra time period as they finish the 90.
Yeah, without doubt. Just listen to the guys there at full time. Rangers definitely went on the stronger, showing remarkable powers of recovery, remarkable fitness. When they have taken control of the game, it'll be about continuing to do that, create more chances, and try and be a bit more clinical in front of goal.
Rangers fans must be sick of the sight of goalkeepers right now. Kevin Trapp denying Ryan Kent late on in the Europa League.
Come on, Hearts.
Joe Riedel denied that Craig Gordon here at Hampden. Fans doing their bit. There's no changes for the start of extra time.
Come on. Come on, something happened in extra time. Come on, Hearts.
Rangers forced into extra time for the second time in the space of a few days. Indeed, their semi-final went to extra time as well. They were really strong in that extra 30 minutes against Celtic. It's Bassey. It's a good ball.
Oh,
Misses yet again.
I don't know why that's not the back of the net. It's an unbelievable cross.
how did he not score that? I surely think that was going in.
Just has to beat him with the forehead and get that either side of Craig Gordon. Much like Diallo's top of the head. That is a huge opportunity for Rangers. Joe Riedel should have Rangers in front. There's no doubt about it.
Rangers manager slapping his hands in frustration. Fans with their heads in their hands. Riedel and Diallo had good headed opportunities in the first half of normal time. Riedel denied by Craig Gordon at the end of the 90.
Come on, don't.
Just another big one. Rangers corner. Rangers looking like the fresher team right now.
Sure are. Loads of energy. Continuing to attack. Calvin Bassey, where is he finding the energy from? You know, he's up and down that line, put crosses in. Unbelievable.
Tavernier to take again.
Come on.
Too high for Ballard. To the halfway low. It's Jack!
Oh, no. Ryan Jacket to score for Rangers. Ah. They're not. Yeah. No way that Craig Gorman was ever going to get to that. No way.
I don't know what he's claiming for, but what a strike it is from Ryan Jack. So composed, great first touch, eyes on the ball, clean strike. Craig Gordon, absolutely no chance for that one.
Nah, Chesterfield, I got more faith.
If you want to beat Craig Gordon from there, you have to do that. It was flashed past the Scotland goalkeeper by his international teammate. And Ryan Jack, who's had so many injury problems recently, has scored potentially the biggest goal of his career. They couldn't make the breakthrough in Seville in extra time. But that pile driver from Ryan Jack has Rangers in the driving seat here.
What a time as well. Just at that extra time, we said that there was the fitter team or they look certainly fit. Come towards full time, but that'll give them a lift to go again. Tremendous strike from Ryan Jack.
On the basis of the second half of the game and the way they started extra time, you can't really argue that they deserve to be in front.
No, and the question marks coming into the game were, how are Rangers going to approach this? How are they mentally? How are they physically? Well, they've come up with the answer to that. They're fine. They want to win this cup. They've put it behind them for now, for this game. I'm sure they'll be thinking about what happened midweek after today, but certainly they've responded. And as the games go on, they'll get stronger and stronger and fitter. And they deserve to be in front. But for a wonder save from Craig Gordon at the end of the game, it would be finished by now.
Come on, Arts, defend, for God's sake. Oh, no, not again. Oh, fuck's sake. That's it. No way we're coming back from that.
From Scott Wright, Rangers well in control now. Well, they have been anyway. They have been in control, but they're finding that edge in front of goal now.
There's no love lost between Aberdeen and Rangers, but it's the two Aberdonians, formerly at Pittodrie, who have put Rangers on the cusp of a first major cup competition win since 2011, and they're through again. It's Kent. This time the door is closed.
Hearts are wide open, and it's not because they're putting extra bodies forward, they're just all over the place at the back. Still Sims isolated up front, gaps all over the place, runners from Rangers getting beyond. Two subs have made a difference as well, Liam, again.
No, it's not done yet. Here's Halliday. Devlin. Darcy did brilliantly again. Balogun helps him out. His international colleague. sure Scott Wright has, up until now, won over all the Rangers supporters, but he is helping to write a heck of a chapter in the Rangers history. And he took it beautifully as well, in both goals. Two different goals, but they've both been terrific finishes.
Yeah, it's Scott Wright's first touch sets him, and it allows him to relax. He doesn't have to Snapchat it, he just concentrates on getting a clean strike back across Craig Gordon. Nice composed finish, because it's not easy to score from there, particularly into a goalkeeper as good as Craig Gordon.
Swally McLeish there, who's all about winning the Scottish Cup, did it so often as an Aberdeen player. He was the last Aberdeen captain to lift the cup, and of course he had plenty success in this tournament as Rangers manager as well. It's Rangers to throw away now. Stephen has replaced Alex Cochrane for Hearts. We need to find something from somewhere, and it'll be a third Scottish Cup final defeat in 4 seasons.
And we've yet to test John McLaughlin and goal.
Yeah, not a single shot on target. Sims did hit the post early on. The second goal makes it more likely of a Rangers victory, but the team that scores the first goal in the Scottish Cup final has only lost it 3 times out of the last 33. Aberdeen against Celtic 2017, Dunfermline against Celtic in 2004, and Celtic against Rangers in 2002, 20 years ago. Peter Lovekrans scored that dramatic late winner. McGregor on the bench today, was on the bench that day, 2 decades ago. Rangers fancy more. Here's Bassey. Mackay Stephen for Ginelli. Well, if Hearts get a goal before half-time and extra time, then you just never know.
Yeah, the Hearts have to go and try and get the next goal, and then it takes the pressure on the Rangers. Did they go and try and get the third, or they defend the lead? But in order to do that, they have to create a chance. They have to ask a question the goalkeeper, and they've yet to do that. But Mackay Stevens on now. You've got Janelle, Mackay Stevens, Sims. They need to get on support and try and ask a question. John McLaughlin in goal.
Rebo for Kamara.
They're not even putting pressure on the ball. Rangers are just knocking the ball about. Players are in space. There's no one going to try and press them, put them under any kind of pressure, try and force a mistake.
Yeah, they've crumbled. Rangers have used the negative of losing the Europa League final on penalties as a positive today. They've been determined that they're not going to lose a second cup final in the space of 72 hours.
They started a bit slow, first 5-10 minutes of the game, which is understandable. But as the game's gone on, they've got stronger and stronger. And you're right, this is an opportunity for them to go and win a trophy. Huge disappointment for them midweek. But they've turned up, they've showed an incredible attitude, unreal levels of fitness. Calvin Bass in particular, he is up and down that left flank like you wouldn't believe, and it's incredible. And they've gone and taken control of the game.
Right, for Kamara. First time for Kent. Two goal scorers. This ball cut out by Shooter. Armstrong. Nothing happening for Hearts right now. It's been a fantastic season for Hearts by and large. They could have made it a great season.
But they'll think they're on the freaking holidays so they can all bugger off on the aeroplanes and go bye-bye. The voters decided we're all going to go on holidays, besides we're not going to play. Hearts.
I think it's still a great season for Hearts. I know there'll be huge disappointment if they don't get back in and don't go on to win this.
Don't go on to win this. They can't even string two passes together. Can't even get the ball.
Chance to build on that for next season.
Here's Kent. He fancied a piece of the action.
Don't let that get score. I can't even stand in Ryan Kent shine.
Ryan Kent, unreal amounts of energy. I think he started the game really bright. He's shown that he's kind of shaking off that mess that he had midweek. I wonder
Game plans all wrong. Shocking. Yes, it is absolutely shocking.
up for it. He's wanting to take people on. He's wanting to create. He just gets that shot wrong, but I think he's shown a brilliant.
Not that shite.
Disappointment.
They're not that shite if they finished third in the league and got Europa League. So it can't be that shite.
Martinelli, but it's ultimately a free kick.
Now we'll be in Europa League.
Lee McCulloch there beside Robbie Nielsen. Cup winner with Rangers.
Do something, you bunch of brown-nosed gits.
Hearts
That's
will
my
be able to
cousin.
return to the European stage. As I mentioned, the Europa League playoff round, there'll be a priority one team.
Yep, that's my cousin, that is.
The Cypriot Cup winners, who could be Neil Lennon, Zamoni and Nicosia. Who play that cup final next week.
Scum, shove it your ass, quite good night, and piss off having to have your summer holidays.
Well, they are massively up against it here at Hampden at half-time and extra time. Jack and Wright in the space of 3 minutes, and Rangers have one hand on the Scottish.
But if we can get one goal back, you never know. You never know. I've said that, if they get one goal back, you never know what can happen, because weird things happen in football.
Very difficult now, James, to see anything other than a Rangers victory here.
Yes, it is. I think Rangers was, without doubt, the strongest coming towards the last 10, 15 minutes of normal time, and they've certainly taken their chances in this first period of extra time. Hearts, they looked all over the place as soon as that first goal went in. They didn't, compose themselves. They just looked ragged. Rangers were getting opportunities far too easily. The second goal comes, they're wide open, and Rangers showing that energy to bust forward. They've taken real control of the situation.
Nah.
Nielsen, he's got a huge team talk now because Rangers have been knocking the ball about. There's not been enough pressure. No one going putting tackles in, trying to win the.
Let's have faith. It's not over until it's over.
Hasn't been able to hold the ball up and have any real impact. We got a chance to see that goal again from Ryan Jack. Magnificent strike.
Oh, BBC Scotland, do you want to bumboy Rangers even more by literally showing that goal from every different freaking angle you can actually have physically possible? And then you're going to do the same with it. We're going to see it from literally every blasted angle you have. Oh, so we see it from left, right, behind. You can see it from the behind the goal. You can see it from up on the cameras that are up high. You like bumboing Rangers and all like that.
She didn't. Neither did the rest in the maroon and white end of Hampden.
Two 0 at battering. 2-0 is just an all. A battering's if you lose 4 or 5.
Glenn has come off to be replaced by Aaron McInnes.
2-0 at battering. 2-0 is just a defeat.
Rebo could have won it late on in the 90.
Come on, let's get a goal back. You never know what can happen.
You never know.
Second leg of that, by the way, Monday night.
Yeah, but Rangers couldn't beat him in 90 minutes. So have that Rangers shite.
Monday evening, BBC Scotland channel. St Johnstone, Cali Thistle. Second leg, the Premiership playoff final. Second period of extra time underway. What can Hearts do? Have they got anything left?
We have something left. We've got fresher players on the pitch.
Kingsley chips for Ginelli. Cross goes Coulson. They won the league last season, Rangers.
And hopefully we're made of sterner stuff.
Competitions generally. Out in the quarters in each of the last 3 seasons. And it's a clear yellow card. As clear a yellow card as you'll ever see. Craig Halkett.
That's the last thing we need. Someone with the pace, the energy, enthusiasm, the fashion Sakala. You know, you talk about players that have been struggling with injury, maybe lacking that 100% fitness. And you've got someone that's a willing runner, real pace about him as well. Halkett felt they had no option but to bring him back there.
Right. Sakala is going to get there. Kent's in the middle, right getting there too. An impact Scott Wright's had.
For Rangers under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, substitutions come on and having an impact in games, the big games.
Yeah, spectacularly so. In times, as you say, it's been the big occasions.
We ain't that shite. Rangers had just 2 chances and took them both.
Got it to Tavernier. By Suter. Looks like all of Scottish football's honours will be swept up by the Old Firm for the first time in a long time. Blow for the rest, but Celtic and Rangers won't care about that. Two clubs as dominant as they've been.
Come on, if you get another goal, you never know. Anything is possible. But I don't see it happening.
Hearts very much best of the rest. There's Ginelli. Need a goal back pretty soon. That comes in from Ginelli.
Oh, that was shite.
His eye on it.
That's going to be the frustration for Hearts. They've not done enough in an attacking sense. They started brightly, Ellis Simpson, that opportunity that comes off the post, but even, you know, they're chasing the game to get back in. The ball in the box, there's one player that's in there that can go and attack it, and Ellis Sims, and they've not been able to test John McLaughlin in goal at all.
Yeah, Sims has faded as a threat since the opening 45 minutes of this.
What? Nah. If I just seen what's just happened, it is now Ebbsfleet United 2, Dorking Wanderers 3.
Sakala.
What?
Good play from him, right? From Kamara.
Huh? So it was like Dorking Wanderers might now winning the National League. Jeez.
Mentioned Hearts' potential route through to the group group stage of the Europa League. Rangers will drop into the third qualifying round for the Champions League. They'll be seeded. Means they'll avoid the likes of Benfica or Dinamo Kiev. There's a chance the likes of PSV won't be seeded. Likes of Marseille, watchalong, Monaco also in the mix. Look at right. Right, can he find Sakala? He can! And
What a save.
couldn't get it past Gordon.
Great play from Scott Wright.
Chinelli brought down, Hart's free kick. Now they can load the box. And they need something now. They need a lifeline.
The delivery will have to be better than it has been so far. There's a chance. Scott Wright driving forward. Sakala made a run earlier. Wright just draws in the defenders. Great pass, and Craig Gordon another big save. Just not enough on the shot from Sakala. Hearts now have a chance to put a good ball in the box.
Josh Chinelli on the touchline, level with the edge of the D of the Rangers box. It's the back post, it's Kingsley. Goes McLaughlin.
Oh, that's shite.
Breaks down for Hart and Midlothian. And Rangers are away in a counter with Fashion Sakala. Zambian out to Kent. One area that Hearts have disappointed in today is the midfield. The midfield have not got to grips with anything today.
Yeah, and I don't think they've gotten enough support out of Sims at times. Either he's been pretty isolated since Liam Boyce has gone off. I just think overall for Hearts they don't have a shot on target. I think that would be the disappointing factor for them.
John Suter. The Rangers fans were concerned about the signing of John Suter. Any of those fears will have been allayed today. He's been magnificent at the back for Hearts.
Yeah, he has. He has. And there was a question, do you play John Suter in a game like this? Of course you do. He's a consummate professional. He's put in a great performance. He'll be devastated, obviously, being a Hearts player that they haven't been able to do enough to win this game at this moment in time.
By Stephen Ginelli. Defended by Goldson. Balogun. So to make things a little more interesting than he needed to. Craig Gordon, John Suter, Craig Halkett maybe as well, as the Rangers representatives will be back here at Hampden on Wednesday week. In that World Cup playoff semi-final against Ukraine. It's going to be some Sakala's going to get there. Can't get past Suter.
Just what we're speaking about, his awareness to cover over, snuff that out.
Remember John Suter making his debut for Dundee United as a 16-year-old. Peter Houston played him out at right back in the game. He was a rangy teenager back in those days.
Yeah, he played all over the place, didn't he? He played in midfield for them, he played obviously centre back.
With some stature now, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He's really filled out, and he's got that. Obviously, as a young player, the one thing that I felt was lacking was aggression to go and be that dominant centre back. We all know how good he is on the ball, how comfortable he is with the ball at his feet, his range of passing. It's that kind of aggression that he's got now, and he's developed into a fine centre back. Sure, there's loads more to come from John Suter as well.
This is going to be Rangers Day. The Rangers supporters are getting close. Haven't seen their team win the Scottish Cup since 2009. Van Bronckhorst won it back to back in 1999 and 2000. Scored scored in the latter. Tall order coming from 2-0 down the final 5 minutes. Can understand some of the Hearts fans looking to get away from hand. Most are still with their team though. And he set up a dramatic finish.
Dramatic finish. We can't even look like we can even have a shot.
Able to recreate the magic of the semi. Goal against Hibs. It's a corner though. Rangers claiming this should have been a goal kick. Hard score will change the complexion of the closing stages. 4 minutes to play. 2-0 to Rangers. Stephen Hannings up.
Ah, for God's sake.
Lumped back in by Atkinson, but it's pretty aimless. Bassey's still running and running and running. And the smile says it all about Calvin Bassey right now. He's in a good place.
It's remarkable, it really is. The energy levels, the fitness for Calvin Bassey, and as you say, that smile, it's always there. Absolutely loving one.
Scottish Cup final man of the match time, James McFadden.
Well, you know, I've just mentioned him briefly there, but we've spoken about him enough throughout this game. Calvin Bassey, unbelievable energy levels, great quality as well down that left-hand side, an outlet for Rangers. He's had a fantastic season. I thought Ryan Kent has had a good game as well, but I'm going for Calvin Bassey as the man of the match.
Wins it back off Janelli. Here's Lundstrom. The joy of the win over Leipzig was replaced by the despair of defeat against Frankfurt in Spain. Anyone connected with Rangers will be smiling pretty soon. Halliday wins Hearts a corner. The sands of time are slipping through the hourglass now. Andy Halliday will take this one. And it comes away by Kamara. Suter back towards the Rangers goal. By Sakala. It's about to happen here. Well, I think this tells us what's happening with Alan McGregor. I think this reveals all. He's coming on for the final minute. And that's a nice touch by Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. I'm sure Alan McGregor will be feeling incredibly emotional. The rumours sweeping Glasgow, he is going to retire. We thought he'd play it for the last time in that Europa League final, James, but he's going to get the final minute here with Rangers on the cusp of Scottish Cup glory.
Yeah, Leonardo, that thumbs it for me that Alan McGregor will be retiring. Tremendous goalkeeper. He's had an unbelievable career and coming on for the last couple of minutes to get the adulation, the appreciation of the Rangers support. Fantastic goalkeeper. He'll be a loss to Rangers. I'm sure he still has a couple of years left in him, certainly physically, but he feels it time to call it a day, and no better way to bow out.
He bowed out with the national team after a superb performance in a crucial Nations League game against Israel. Competition Scotland used to qualify for the European Championship. Kamara's found Kent. Can he ice the kick here? Gordon saves again. Kamara! He's done all he can do today.
Phenomenal again from Craig Gordon. Phenomenal goalkeeping. Where would Hearts be in this game if it wasn't for Craig Gordon?
The only players actually played good.
Again, the energy levels. Hits it low and hard. Great save from Craig Gordon. Follows it up. Nice save down to his right hand side from Glenn Kamara.
1 minute of injury time was added. Anything Hearts get now is consolation. The cup's going to Ibrox. There's another Hearts corner. Van Bronckhorst's almost there. In from McAneff and headed over the bar by Halliday. It is Scottish Cup salvation for Rangers.
Full time and extra time. Rangers 2. Hearts 0. Third year in the cup final. Third loss in a row. That's unlucky. Like, subscribe with the bell notification, get the post. I'll see you guys tomorrow because I'm going to try and do a score centre thing for the final day of the Premier League season. See how it all goes on in that. Like, subscribe with the bell notification, get the post.